Hi there, Mike Brady with Generosity Wealth Management, a comprehensive full-service financial services firm headquartered right here in Boulder, Colorado. So the last couple of days have been kind of exciting. You probably have read about it, seen the headlines, and so I want to comment a little bit about it. So you've got to determine what your time horizon is. And so this is a great opportunity for you to look back at what you're doing, your own mindset, your behavior, because history has shown that some of the most successful investors are those that have control of their emotions, control of their behavior. They take a long-term vision, or if they have a short-term vision, they have their investments accordingly to the short term. So if you have long-term investments, a long-term time horizon, and are worried about a day, a week, I would say a month, a quarter, even a year. I mean, if your time horizon is 5, 10, 20 years, and if you're in your 60s and your 70s, hopefully you have many 5-year time horizons left, okay? Then what has happened in the last 2, 3, 4 days, last week, is to be expected. These things happen. On Friday and on Monday, so much was given up that you're right back to where you were 4 weeks ago. Okay? In the whole scheme of things, this does not mean that we're going to have a 30-40% decline. It is normal for there to be double-digit declines throughout the year, and the fact that the last 2 to 3 years we haven't had that is the exception. Okay? So we've been lulled by such low volatility that when some volatility happens, some people get quite concerned. And so I'm here to say that that's part of the game. If investing is taking 4 steps forward, maybe 1 step, 2 steps, maybe even 3 steps backwards, and if you're so concerned about the steps backwards, then you're never going to have the steps forward as well. Okay, that's been my experience. And so it's important for us to have control of our emotions, keep the long view in mind. The way I like to think of it is, do you want to be happy in the short term or in the long term? Because one thing that history has shown is that a diversified portfolio, the more aggressive you are over a 10 or 20 year time horizon, the odds are, not guaranteed, the odds are highly that you'll have a higher rate of return and a higher portfolio. If you start here and you have a higher one 10 or 20 years from now than if you have a real low conservative one. But along the way, it could be very volatile. It could be unhappy. So if you're unhappy in the short term, you're happier in the 10 or 20 year time horizon. If, on the other hand, you say, no, I want to be happy in the short term. Well, if that's the case, then you don't really want any volatility. Maybe some, but very, very low or zero volatility. That just means that over the long term, you're probably going to have a return that's much lower than if you had taken some risk in some kind of a diversified portfolio that's filled with some kind of exposure to the stock market in some particular fashion. So the future is never certain. Even when we look at 2008, which was the worst in our lifetime, okay, for most of us, your break even, if you bought at the absolute worst, 2007, if you had a 40% stock and 60% bond allocation of an unmanaged index, your break even was 2 years. Okay, those 2 years weren't much fun, but it's 2 years out of 5, 10, 20, 30 years. That's a very small percentage that you're underwater. If you had a 60-40 split of 60% stock and 40, your break even was about 3 years. And if you were full equities, it was actually a little bit less than 5 years. So it's good for us to remember that was the absolute worst. Okay, it's sort of like every time we have a military engagement, we're always refighting the last war. Okay, whether it was Vietnam or whether it was Persian Gulf 1 or 2 or whatever. We can't assume that what happened last time is going to be what's happening this time as well. So just don't worry about it. As things progress, I'm just about to take a trip, but I will have internet. I will be available, but I'll be delayed. I'm going to be in Thailand for the next couple of weeks, but they do have TV and news and internet and the ability for me to communicate. I will be 14 hours ahead, so I might be a little delayed, but if something major happens, I of course will communicate with you like I'm doing right here. 303-747-6455, Mike at generositywealth.com, and you have a great day. Bye-bye.